Hi, my name is Walker Daniel, and today I'll be presenting my last and final mind map little video thing. Just a little heads up, I kind of split my because typically I do a script. I mean, you've seen it before, and I've split it up between like paper and Google Doc because I just found it a little easier. So sorry if I'm looking back and forth. I'm reading my notes, and I'll also like scan it and submit it as well. So you'll have access to what I'm reading too. But let's just start with what we've got. So let's talk about the readings first. So Hall and Cassis's reading, um, sort of the main topics I got from it are tools are connected um to us, and like there's no like separation. And kind of the example they gave was a blind person and their cane, or and but they also reshape how we act in a way, so it kind of has that like mental connection. And then it uh but then technology isn't a tool is also what they say, where technology, instead of it extending what we have, it rather reshapes it or how we see things. And then he also talks about some ethical concerns with technology and how it can be a tool to control us, or I guess not a tool, but a way to control what is seen and stuff like that. So I think that was pretty interesting. I like this reading. I thought it was really interesting, especially the talking about how a blind man's cane is an extension of himself, because I never really thought of it like that. Um, Kind of like a whole new body part in a way. Um, I also thought his take on technology not being a tool was interesting. I don't know how much I believe it, but I did think it kind of aligns with how I view AI as it's kind of a give and take sort of thing, where you will use it to enhance some parts of your life, but I feel like as you use it, it might start decaying other parts. And in my mind, might I talk about it sort of in my own opinion on how it may diminish creativity and stuff like that. And then I thought his points on, or his ethical concerns really lined up with AI, in the sense that like the developers of these chatbots, and I kind of write about this in my synthesis a lot too, can create or like sort of guide the AI into giving answers that more align with what the developer wants. So I thought it was pretty interesting that they started talking about this. The second reading we had was Badrilled, and it talks about images, like the decay of how images had validity. At the very beginning, it talked about how images in their first stage used to be like very how do I say this, like valid, like seeing is believing. And then as it goes on, they were like images don't really have any real or like any meaning to them anymore. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They also talked about what I didn't really understand, which was a reality where everything is distorted and people talk like in an encoded sort of way. And they talk about theme parks in this way, which I kind of get. I don't know. It was very weird. And they talk about simulations preceding reality. And I forget the vocab word they use. Simulacra. I don't know. I did not like this reading. I thought it was kind of confusing. Hyperreality didn't really stick with me. Um, I'm pretty sure it refers to like everything being artificial and encoded, but like I could also be wrong. Um, I also I did like how it talked about the degradation of validity in photos, because I feel like it kind of relates a lot to what we talk or what we see in AI with, AI generated videos and deep fakes. Um, Kind of I don't know. it makes real photos harder to believe, especially like extraordinary things. I don't know. To me, that was really interesting. The second or the third reading we did was from Clark and Charles. Um, and it talks about uh if a simulation or simulated thing is like exactly as as it is in reality, then it essentially should be treated as such. So like if a simulation is so good, it's essentially reality. And I mean I don't really see it, but then they talk about um sort of what the first article was talking about being tools as an extension of one's body and mind. So they talked about Otto's notebook, which Otto had like a memory condition, and so he used a notebook to sort of extend his memory. I thought that was really cool. And then also they talked about uh your environment controlling, not controlling, but molding your cognition. So what you have in your environment sort of changes how you sort of see things. Um, but this must be, they had three sort of categories, reliable, automatically adhered, and then easily obtained. Uh, this was a lot like the first reading, as I stated a minute ago. And again, I really did like Otto's notebook. It was a great example of how even things like as simple as taking notes could be an extension of oneself. Uh, it also talks a lot about simulations. Oh, sorry, hold up. My notes got a little twisted. I don't really agree with the simulations being exactly like reality, and so it should be treated the same way. It just kind of feels, I don't know, dystopian in a way and not super realistic. I mean, we have it in virtual reality where a lot of people kind of get consumed in it, but I always still see that there's some sort of separation within it. But I feel like in extreme cases in the future, this could make a little more sense to. Uh, I don't know. It's hard for me to sort of envision it though. I guess it's kind of like that movie Ready Player One. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It was really, really strange to me. And then the final one we read was Bostrom, and it talked about a post-human in which you're more emotionally and cognitively and physically enhanced in a way. So kind of like a cyborg is how I envisioned it. Um, and he talked about how this would better humanity, and there's a lot of concerns among it, but uh, it's for the greater good, or it would happen for the greater good. And I didn't like this article either. I thought post-human was really abstract to me. I didn't really kind of understand what emotionally enhanced would really mean, more so than we already are. But we talked about this in class, how it's like, are we currently post-human compared to past humans, such as like, I don't know, the medieval ages? And sure, I get it. But I don't know if I'd call it post-human. It feels detached, and I still think um we're not like any better than them. If they were given the same tools we were, they'd be the same as us. So I don't think it's like post-human. I don't think we've evolved past it. But that might be just me getting caught up on the name. And also he talked about the issues of it being like hidden behind a paywall or whatever, or behind the rich, and how that wouldn't happen. But I don't know, it feels kind of elitist. So that I wasn't a big fan of those that part either. And now I guess I'll talk about the themes I noticed when reading these articles. I mean, they're pretty clear. There's two ones that are very clear to me, which are what defines a tool and what is reality. I feel like those are answered uh pretty pretty unanimously, although with different points in each of the articles. So in my mind map, which you'll obviously see, I first connected AI, excuse me, AI, and talked about what it is. Is it a tool or not? And from the ratings, I mean, most of them, if not all, with slight exception, agree that AI is a tool and it does extend yourself. I will say the second article we read, Bedrills, uh, had a counterpoint saying it that technology cannot extend but rather reshape, which I do agree with. Or not, I don't agree with that, but I do agree it can be applied to AI, but I still think it is a tool because it is useful and it is used to enhance, even if it takes away from other aspects of life. I still think it is important. You could kind of think of a hammer. If you had hammers for hands, or like if you were holding a hammer, you couldn't do something else as efficiently. I don't know. And then the second thing we talk about, or I talk about, is how it shapes reality. And I've sort of divided this into three little parts, as you'll see in my mind map. I won't go into too much detail, but of varying severities of how AI will influence our lives. Uh, I start from it won't affect our lives, and then I talk about it has already affected our lives, and then I finally talk about the most extreme case, which is post-human, and how like AI will completely transform our life, which I think is a little extreme. Uh, but you'll see, I kind of put each article into it, so that we've read. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. That's my mind map. Thank you for listening. This is the last you'll hear from me. Bye bye.